All right, g'day, hi, welcome. Okay, so camera's acting up on me again. So I left you guys with a cliffhanger in the last one, and I said if I had, I'm rethinking my saw arsenal that I'm going to be building. You know what I mean? So right now I got the 162 and the 400, but if I had to do it all over again, would I buy these two saws? Absolutely, 100%. In fact, I'm probably going to buy a second 162, maybe even a third one over time. But I might not buy what I'd rather have, because actually, here's the fence I'm working on. This tree here, I can't quite get this one down because of the friggin' over the power line. If you damage that power line, you're like Hydro will basically charge you for it. It's tens of thousands of dollars. That happened to another client of mine where somebody fell a tree and it hit the power line, and I got the same problem with those big pines there on the other side as the power line there. So I just don't risk it, if it's near power lines. But anyway, my saw arsenal, what would I pick and why? So I was thinking, okay, 162, the 261, the 400 that I got, and then the 661. So I thought having two mid-size saws, have one smaller mid-size saw like the MS260, which I've run for like 13 years. I absolutely love that saw. So the 261, which is the newer version of it, would be just as awesome or better. But then after running my 400 for like 5 hours yesterday, maybe not 5 hours straight, but like for 5 hours, you know what I mean? Up and down trees with it and stuff like that. And I'm like, I don't know if I could justify a smaller mid-size saw, because if I'm no more tired at the end of the day running the 400 than I am, which is a little bit heavier, but if I can run that for like an 8-hour day and not be any more tired than running the 261, then I might as well run, like another 400 or something like that. But I would like a saw slightly lighter, but very close to the power thing. So I'm thinking like the 362, or whenever the 400.1 comes out. The 400.1, I'm kind of excited to see what that saw is going to do, because it's going to be replacing like the 400 and the 362, right? So it's lighter than the 362 by a little bit, probably indistinguishable at the end of the workday which one was lighter, but it's got a little bit more power, but not quite as much power as the 400, and it's lighter than the 400. But when I picked up the 362 and the 400, at the end of the day, which saw would you be more tired running? You would notice the power difference between the 400 and the 360, even though I haven't run the 362, but you probably notice the power is a little bit better on the 400. But you probably wouldn't notice the weight difference that much, because the 362 is heavier than the 261, but it's not so heavy that it's just like, okay, I got to put this thing down after cutting, 10, 15 blocks, like whatever. Like if you got like some real big stuff you got to cut and you have to use a really big heavy saw, you got to take breaks, With the 400, I don't feel like I have to take a break unless I got to get fuel, you know what I mean? So, and you can cut pretty big blocks with it. So the saws I'm excited for is like, if I had, say, a slightly lighter, and even if it's a little bit less power, even though still is saying that it's going to have a better power to weight than the 400, but the 400.1, which is 62 cc's, 5 cc's less, but is about, forget it, it's lighter. It's lighter than the 362. So you have a more powerful saw that's lighter than the smaller saw, but not as powerful as the big saw, but much lighter. But if you compare the 400.1, which is not out on the market yet, that won't be till next year, it wouldn't make sense unless, like, obviously money's an issue, but if you're doing payments like I am on the credit card, money's not the issue, because like I say, I just put $2,001 on my credit card, and not even owning the two saws for like a month yet. Like I've only had them, what, 2 weeks, week and a half, and I've already made like 400 and some odd bucks, right? So I'm almost a quarter of what I put into them in the first month so far, and the month's not even over yet. So maybe by the end of the month, and this is the slow time of the year for me too. So I might only make, $500-600 extra with it per month. But at that rate, I mean, you can see how fast it would pay for itself, right? So money's not the issue for me, because payments versus how fast the money's gonna pay the saw. Like my 162 is paid for itself and all the wedges, and like right now I'm just literally paying for the big saw, like that's what I got to get. So yeah, it makes me think of how I would set up my saws once I get busy enough with it.